Deputy Rectors of มหาจุฬาลงกรณราชวิทยาลัย University, especially พระโสพลพัฒนาบัณฑิต Deputy Rector for ขอนแก่น Campus of MCU, my dear colleagues, especially respect members of the Sangha, Excellency Li Mangkang, Consul General of People Republic of China, Excellency Kampai Pan Thongdi, Vice Consul of the Lao People Republic, Democratic Republic, Deputy Directors for General Affairs, Professors of MCU and their participants. I am very pleased to be with you in this historical moment of MCU, มหาจุฬาลงกรณราชวิทยาลัย University, briefly MCU, to be a part of this history because this conference organized as an international conference for the first time as campus of MCU outside Bangkok, with initiative taken by the vice rector or deputy rectors of the campus. Personally, we have organized many international conferences at the main campus in Bangkok. For example, Vesak celebration for almost 12 years. I have a dream that one day the initiative will be taken by the campus leadership here and there throughout the country. And I have been waiting for a long, long time. Although the Buddhist Research Institute has taken initiative to organize the national conference in other campuses, but that is not the initiative taken by the campus itself. So I have to congratulate พระโสพลพัฒนาบัณฑิต and his team, able team for this success. Not only in terms of the presentation of the papers, also quality. At least when I have been here listening to Excellency presentation of your view on China and Laos relation with Thailand. This is very thought-provoking, and it indicates a new dimension of relation between our countries. So I hope that the implementation of our ideas and views presented here will be follow up. Although I am expected to give the opening speech in the morning when they invite me to come in the morning, but I have prior engagement in Bangkok, so I could not share with you my view. But somehow, in this closing ceremony, I am again request to give you my idea on the main theme of the conference. So I would like to take this opportunity to talk about the main theme of the conference because this is pertinent, related to our university policy. So the main theme of our conference is integration of Buddhism into modern science for research to develop a sustainable society. May I remind you that this is a reflection and implementation of MCU philosophy. มหาจุฬาลงกรณราชวิทยาลัย University philosophy, I quote, this is our university philosophy and vision to provide. Our university main purpose or main aim is to provide Buddhist education integrating Buddhism into modern science for mental and social development. This means the raison d'être, the reason for establishment of university is to be a center of Buddhist education or Buddhist university. But this is not a traditional center of Buddhist education. We encourage our students to do research in Tripitaka, the scripture, as well as to apply the Buddha teaching for development of our society. Our education is not separated from society. So we have to pay attention not only the main teaching of the Buddha in Tripitaka, but also how to apply the Buddha teaching to develop our society. And when we aim at that goal, we have to look to the subject matter of our modern contemporary world, that is the influence of science and technology. The science and development of science, advancement of science technology, we will get benefit from them, and so that we can use science and technology to confirm the truth in the Buddha teaching, to confirm about the discovery of the truth of the Buddha teaching 25 centuries ago. And at the same time, we use science and technology as the conveyor of the message of the Buddha to communicate it with the modern world. That's why we say we do not encourage our students or researchers or scholars to study only Buddhism or Buddhist philosophy, but also we want them to connect with the new ideas in science and technology, so that we can convey the message of the Buddha in such a way that the Buddha teaching are still relevant to the world today. So this is our philosophy. So the main concept, the key concept of our methodology is integration. What is integration? Integration is an act or instant of combining component parts into an integral whole. It means if we put Buddhism or the Buddhist teachings separately from the modern subject like psychology, physics, or even social science, Buddhism may be found not relevant to the world today. But how we can connect or combine the Buddha teaching to the modern subject in our university education in such a way that there is a new whole or integral whole in our studies in such a way that we can have a new subject like Buddhist psychology or even the moral part of the social science. Why we say that? Because we do not want to, we want to join together science and religion. As Albert Einstein said, science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind. What he means by this is that science wants to discover the truth of the universe, but at the same time, the truth claim of science go beyond the fact-finding. Science wants to make a claim of ethics, try to give justification of our action, or maybe some section of science to go in its own way to be separated from morality. So Albert Einstein said a conflict between religious community and scientific community is that religion want to make a truth claim of discovery, whereas the representative of science go beyond the scope of truth discovery, try to make a judgment on values and morality. So I think the best way is that, at least from the Buddhist perspective, how we insert the moral values or the Buddhist value in the fields of science. For example, in social science, in economics which want to study of the production of production and to satisfy the need of people without taking care of morality, without taking care of moral values, to be rich without caring of the values or happiness. Money is God in economics. So how can we communicate with the economists that you cannot bring in economic prosperity without moral judgment? Means justify the end, not end justify the means. That is, means should be a proper one. We need a wedding between science and religion so that the world can be a better place to live. I have to skip many ideas because time is running out. So in Buddhism, the Buddha mentioned three kinds of people in the world in the Anda Sutta. The first kind of people is the blind person. What is a blind person? And the second one is the one eye, eka chakku. And the third one is the two-eye person. The blind, anto, is a person who is master of the worldly knowledge, secular knowledge, in so much that he can accumulate wealth without knowledge of religion, become rich without morality, just one eye. The second, the blind person is the one who has neither knowledge of the worldly, for the worldly success like science, technology, and no knowledge of Dhamma, no knowledge of religion or values at all. So blind with two eyes, no eyes or wisdom eye of the science and technology, no eye of the Dhamma. So the first kind of person, the blind. The second one, eka chakku, one eye, is a person who has knowledge of the world's, the worldly knowledge like science, technology, no knowledge of the Dhamma, of religion. So live in the world with competition, hatred, and conflict. No loving kindness, no compassion. And the third kind of person that we need in the society is the vijakku, a person of two eyes. One is the eye of for the success in the world, like knowledge of science, technology, and the other is knowledge of the Dhamma that can control how you use the first kind of, of knowledge of science and technology. If you are capable of doing a development for science in the world, to develop in the worldly way, not to destroy other people by the nuclear weapons. You get rich not by the destruction of environment, not to kill other people, not to sell the drugs, because the other eye, the Dhamma eye, control how you use your knowledge of science and technology to develop this world. Buddhism want to provide education to people of the world with two eyes. Knowledge of science, technology, or secular subjects in one eye, and knowledge for the Dhamma to control of the first ability, so that this world can be a peaceful place to live in. How to provide education with two eyes to population of a country. That is the policy of MCU. So we train our students in the modern subject for one eye. And at the same time, we train them in religious study. It is imperative for all the students to meditate. For BA class, 40 days, 10 days for each year. For MA class, at least they have to practice meditation in retreat for 1 month. For anyone to complete PhD from a university, that person has to practice meditation continuously for 1.5 months, so that they can gain the second eye besides studying the Buddha Dhamma in the classes. Theory and practice, we have to do the same thing. Now turn to research. What to do in the research, in the field of research for sustainable development? What is sustainable development? The general definition of sustainable development is that development that meets the needs for the present generation without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. 20 years ago, when we talk of sustainable development, is try to draw attention to the preservation of environment. When we cut our trees, when we use the fuels, we have borrowed these things from the future generation. We have to preserve the fuels, water, the trees in the forest for our the next generations. We have to take care of environment. That is the beginning of definition of sustainable development. What would happen if the world running out of oil in the next 50 years? What would happen when we have polluted our river, our air? Right now we are talking of global warming. We have to depart from this world with good environment suitable for our next generation to live. We should not destroy the world and die. That is the meaning of sustainable development in general understanding. But later on, the concept of sustainable development expanded to include not only environment but also cultural factor. You get rich, you invite the investor from outside to invest in such a way that they accumulate wealth but destroy our culture. Tourism industry is an example. You invite all kinds of tourists. They come along, they bring in drugs, bring in a new kinds of culture which jeopardize our way of life. You get rich, but somehow culture is destroyed. Destroy even Buddhist culture. We live in peace, in mental prosperity. Now we become poor when get richer in material aspect. Who need this kind of development? It is not sustainable. So the concept of sustainable development include not only environment but also culture, also other aspects like I will show you here. The sustainable development have to include not only environment but also social aspect, cultural aspect, and economic aspect of development. Four pillars of development is to be included in the concept of sustainable development. So come to Buddhist perspective. From the Buddhist perspective, development have to be in Majjhima Patipatha, the middle way of development. We call the balanced development of mind and body. When you pay attention to the physical wealth, physical aspects of development, you may be poor in your mind, culturally poor. So the middle way is to pay attention to physical aspect of development like environmental, economic development, and at the same time develop your mind by means of education, by means of religious values. Go together. So for us, in the Buddhist perspective, in Buddhist university, sustainable development is sustainable as long as it takes care of physical, both physical and mental aspects of development. So in the Buddhist perspective, we try to avoid two extremes. One is addiction to sensual pleasure, pay too much attention to material abundance, material development at the expense of spiritual or mental development. This is one extreme. And the second one is you pay too much attention to the mental or spiritual aspect at the expense of material development. So this is another extreme. The middle way of development is that you bring the balanced development of both mind and body, of spiritual, of material and mental development. That is four pillars of Buddhist development. If you provide four aspects of development, that development is sustainable from the Buddhist perspective. What is it? Number one is a physical development, Kaya Bhavana, that is preserve economic development and included environmental preservation. This is physical development, the first aspect of development in Buddhism. The number two is cultural and social development, Sila Bhavana. You have to take care of this aspect in your development plan. Number three, mental development, Citta Bhavana. That is the main aim of Buddha's teaching. Sila in the in the Sikha threefold training conducive to the social development. Samadhi in Three Sikha is conducive to mental development and wisdom development, panya bhavana, intellectual development. That is our education in our university. Vipassana meditation is necessary for the fourth kind of development. Sustainable development has to diversify activities in such a way that it taking care of four aspects of development. These four pillars of development is called sustainable development in Buddhism. So this is the scope of development that we are talking about in our university. Mental and social development. Integrating Buddhism into modern science for mental and social development. By mental and social development, we mean development which include four aspects: physical, social, mental, and wisdom or intellectual. This is sustainable development in our university perspective. If you pay attention only one or two aspects of development, it is one extreme. Middle way of development have to take care of four aspects. This is then come to research strategy. Research strategy in our Buddhist perspective is not to invent a new truth. Be careful. You do not try to invent the new Dhamma. Dhamma or the Buddha is already there in the Tripitaka, in the Buddhist scripture. 45 volumes. You doing research to find the particular aspect of the Dhamma that serve your purpose. Try to discover the truth already taught by the Buddha in Tripitaka, not to invent a new Dhamma to compete with the Tripitaka. It sounds alright. Then what is the purpose of research? The purpose of research is how to apply the Dhamma found in the Tripitaka or the scripture to implement in our modern world. How to compare, to combine with science, advancement of science technology. We call this methodology innovation. Innovative perspective of research in MCU, in our university. What is innovation? Innovation is defined as finding a better way of solving a problems or doing something. You find the methodology, you find the methods to solve the problem, new method. How to practice meditation, find a shortcut way to practice meditation, like in Myanmar methodology, rising and falling. That is an innovative approach to meditation. I find many innovative perspective or innovation in meditation practice in Buddhism. But the goal of practicing meditation is the same. Calmness of your mind, samatha, and realization of three characteristics: anicca impermanence, dukkha suffering, and anatta emptiness of ego. The aim is the same, but if you practice meditation to be one with God, with the Brahma, this is not Buddhism, although you practice meditation. Method is the same, is may be verified different, but aim is the same. The truth is there, Nibbana is there. We do not reject it. We do not reject Nibbana. The Nibbana is there. So what is innovation? For example, science and technology. Give example of innovation. What is the desirable purpose of innovation? What's the problem that we want to solve? What is the practical use that we want to achieve? Then what is the advancement of science and technology that we want to utilize? After we combine science and technology with the apply in bringing out a new production, that new production will be accepted by the society or not. How the market would welcome it? I will give you example. We know about iPhone and iPad. This is not invention. It is innovation. Telephone is already there. Camera is already there. Computer already there. Internet already there. Recorder, tape recorder is there. Steve Jobs just combine them together. In one instrument, it become innovation called iPhone and iPad. Dhamma, the Buddha teaching is already there in the Pitaka. Meditation is already there in the Pitaka. Abhidhamma is already there. Buddhist philosophy already there. You combine Abhidhamma, meditation, Buddha's teaching with psychology. Now you get what? iPad, iPhone? No. Buddhist psychology. Mindfulness psychotherapy. See? This is not absolutely new. You combine law with the Buddha teaching, ethics in the Buddhist framework. Now you get a legal subject in a Buddhist university. We start this year and from last year onward. The faculty of law in our university, it is not a study of pure legal procedure. It is a mixture of the legal procedure found in Vinaya Pitaka. Vinaya Pitaka is full of legal procedure taught by the Buddha. Now we got the Buddhist legal subject in our university. This is an innovation. If we just study the legal procedure as such in the Vinaya Pitaka, this is a traditional study. But now, in our modern university, we combine advancement in legal circle with the Tripitaka, Vinaya Pitaka. We get a new subject. You cannot find in secular university that mix the Vinaya Pitaka with the legal with law in a secular term. In our university, and this faculty of law in the university will become very popular, not for the student, not for the lay student, but for monks. They want to learn more about legal procedure in secular world, so that they can apply how to govern and how to implement the Vinaya Pitaka in a better way, in a more effective way. So I mentioned Buddhist psychology. See, this is innovation. You mix Abhidhamma with mindfulness meditation with psychology, and now you get the subject Buddhist psychology. In public administration, also we have the Buddhist perspective and Buddhist framework or Buddhist ethic in public administration in our university. We have like a subject for MA like life and death. Life and death is a mixture of Buddha Sutra with psychology, how to treat the terminal patient. They are going to die. How to teach them to make up their mind to go to the next life, afterlife. See? That is the faculty of life and death. The subject you can study, main subject you study in our university. So I give you an example in our country. I skip what I prepare here. Come to Buddhism and social science. To integrate Buddhism into social science for social development, I give you example. I will go in 5 or 10 minutes from now. For example, you mix the Buddhist ethics with economics. You get Buddhist economics. It is not a secular subject. Now we have a department of Buddhist economics in our university. How it come into this stage, I will show you. What is economics? I will show you how we apply the Buddha teaching, the Buddhist value into modern science. Economics is a modern science. What is economics? It's a study of how to use limited resources to satisfy unlimited human wants. This is a well-known definition. The problem is with this word, unlimited human wants. We have limited resources, but we try to satisfy unlimited human wants. Is this possible? Not possible at all. Why? Because the Buddha said in Tipitaka, Dhammapada, Natti tanha samanadi. There is no river like craving. See? Tanha, craving, desire, no limit of the desire. Although you give the whole mountain which made of gold to a one human being, he will never be satisfied, the Buddha said. And how economics will satisfy the human desire? Not possible without the Buddha's teaching, the Buddhist values. So this is because liver can be full sometimes, but desire or craving can never be full, can never be satiated. And our economic is based on greed, competition, greed, desire, consumerism. The rich become richer and richer. The poor become poorer and poorer. I do not want Buddhist country like ours or our friend in Buddhist country to develop a model of economics based on tanha, greed. I do not want to see the super department store to be sent to Myanmar, to Sri Lanka. Okay, let the Thai people suffer because of their greed alone, if they do not turn into Buddhist economics. So, Mahatma Gandhi has warned us, earth provides enough to satisfy every man's needs, but not every man's greed. See, this is directly to the point. You agree? Sir, see, my friend from India agree. Definitely, absolutely. Our economic is based on greed. You can never satisfy natti tanha samanadi. Greed, desire. And our king, His Majesty King Bhumibol in 1924, understand this problem. His Majesty tried to apply the Buddhist values to economic development in our country. In 1974, he said, I quote, this is His Majesty instruction to the people, his citizens. Economic development must be done step by step. It should begin with strengthening of sufficiency foundations by ensuring that the majority of our population has enough to live on. Not to increase greed and desire, but how to bring in the concept of sufficiency in our economy. That is the germ of sufficiency economy philosophy of His Majesty King of Thailand since 1974. Philosophy of sufficiency economy taught by His Majesty the King is that focus on living a moderate, self-reliant life without harming social and natural environments. If we give our ear to our king 30 years ago, we won't destroy our environment and social fiber and suffer from this pollution. See, the king has a foresight, given us this instruction up to the present day. So, the Buddhist values upon which sufficiency economy of His Majesty the King based on are like this: self-reliance, อัตนาถะพึ่งตน contentment สันโตสะ moderation มัตตัญญูตา dependent origination ปฏิจจสมุปบาทะ the middle way มัชฌิมาปฏิปดา I want to see the research work from a university focus on these at least 5 Buddhist values upon which His Majesty philosophy of sufficiency economy based. How can we see the relation so far? I have never seen any kind of research from a university to clarify this point. In spite of His Majesty the King has mentioned about philosophy of sufficiency economy for at least 30 years. This is our challenge. I have no time to explain it. Why we are suffering in spite of economic development, because we are victim of reference point. This is what you have. Your house. You have a house here, and you are content with it. And then one day, the millionaire built a mansion in front of your house. What happened? You compare your wife, not yourself. Your wife compare your house, small house, with the mansion. Mansion is there, and scold at the husband. Why you still live in this small house? You are poor compare with him. Now you get more money through corruption. Because of comparison, we are suffering because of reference point. We compare our economic condition with our neighbor. Oh, what happened? We are still poor. We had to compete with it. We compete with Japan, compete with Korea, compete with Singapore. Any time to be happy? No, not at all, because greed. You are stimulate greed so that they can sell more product to you. We are victim of consumerism. Where is the Buddhist values in our mind? I went to Sri Lanka. Anytime I go there, I have to visit our friend, my friend, the flute player, on the way from Colombo to candy. He played the flute for the tourists. I talked to him. See, he's very happy for more than 10 years without salary, just for happiness. So, see, I just approach him, interview him, and he has a sufficiency economy in his mind. See, I admire him. Next time you go to Candy, visit him. See, I have conversation with this gentleman. So in our country, we apply sufficiency economy into policy and practice. That is, it is a part of the 8th Economic and Social Development Plan in 1997 up to the present plan, the present Economic and Social Development Plan. We try to implement our King philosophy of sufficiency economy, but somehow it doesn't reach the mind of the people. It's still there at the policy because it lacks research which help people understand the Buddhist value in this philosophy. Now let me turn to Bhutan. In Bhutan, the 4th king of Bhutan announced in 1922, King Jigme Wangchuk, gross national happiness, GNH, is more important than gross national product. He makes this well known in the United Nations. So there are many conferences of the United Nations on national happiness instead of national product. What is national happiness philosophy? 4 pillars again. There are 4 pillars of GNH philosophy. Number 1, sustainable development is the key word for development of Bhutan nowadays. Number 2 is conservation of environment. Number 3, preservation of culture. And number 4, pillar, good governance. These 4 components of gross national happiness project in Bhutan. It reminds me of 4 kinds of happiness in Buddhism. This is a subject matter for another research. I just give the topic to my colleagues and my students here. I have no time to explain because I have a plane to catch this evening. Number 1, Ati Sukha, the happiness of wealth ownership. Number 2, Bokha Sukha, happiness of enjoyment of wealth. Number 3, Anana Sukha, happiness of freedom from debt. And number 4, Anavacha Sukha, happiness of blamelessness, livelihoods. See, already there in the Buddha teaching. The Buddhist economics based on happiness, gross national happiness, now has been a subject of research and implement in Bhutan. What about Thailand? What about Sri Lanka? What about India and other Buddhist countries? Implement it. I have opportunity to give the comparative outline between King of Thailand sufficiency economy and gross national happiness in Bhutan. In my address in conference in Bhutan last year, November 2015, and it televised nationally in Bhutan, my talk. So the Prime Minister happy with me, so he talked to me about the comparison between King of Thailand sufficiency economy and King of Bhutan gross national happiness. It is interesting subject of the research for comparative study, indeed. But I just give outline, sketchy talk in that international conference. So His Majesty the King of Bhutan appreciate and want me to discuss on this topic. And we have opportunity to have a group photo like this. Here is the King and me, see, in Bhutan. So I hope that you will do some kind of comparative study between Bhutan cross-national happiness policy and Thailand, His Majesty the King of Thailand, philosophy of sufficiency economy. This is this is an example how to integrate Buddhism into social science for sustainable development. So my friends, this is just a part of what I want to convey to you. But I have no time. I have to rush to the airport, so I have to end my talk here. And thank you very much for coming and contribute. Your contribution will count a lot, not only for MCU, but also the Buddhist world. We share our knowledge, our experience, and when you return to your country, you implement the idea. We exchange the idea we learn from each other, and we give the moral support. I am thankful to Your Excellency from China and from Laos to give moral support to us for the cause of our sustainable development, which is our aim. So with these words, I bring this conference to a close. Thank you all for coming and hope to see you again here or other venues in Thailand. Thank you very much.